What is up, my hands tugging on my nutsack? You ready for Spawn issue number 160? Let's go. Cyan wishes she was with Granny Blake in heaven, but she thinks she wasn't good enough because when Rapture came, all of the good people, quote unquote, got taken away. Granny Blake is like, this isn't right. This isn't heaven. And he's like, yeah, I know you expected fluffy clouds and people singing, but who do I fucking look like? Do I look like a guy who wants to fucking sit around and listen to karaoke for an eternity? And she's realizing that this is not a good god. And he's like, also, Satan's army is growing larger, so I need you people to help me fight the good fight. And everyone pretty much is saying, but we were good. We were wholesome. We were humble. We had humility. And he's like, I don't give a shit about that. I want vengeance. That's what I want. And he starts to take them all away with his powers to use them as people to fight against Satan. Meanwhile, Spawn knows what he must do. He must go and fight the OP-ass motherfucking disciple and win so he can obtain God's powers. And the Mother of Existence states that this place, Eden, has always existed and has always been within reach for humanity. All they had to do was go past the dead zones. So that means that Spawn was always near Eden this entire time. He just had to actually walk through the dead zones. So, Spawn enters the alleyways, he gets ready to go into the dead zone, and he's ready to kick some fucking ass. So you guys ready for this shit? Let's go! Cyan looks through her computer screen, noticing that there's like a little counter. It looks like fucking Mortal Kombat. Hint, hint. Little did they fucking know this was coming later on. Anyway, so you see Spawn in one corner, the disciple in the other corner, and then Spawn is ready to face the disciple. The disciple stands at the edge of the alleyway with flaming wings, and Spawn says, you want a piece of me? And then he launches a huge fucking giant swarm of bats at him, and it sends them flying through these bricks. They fly across the battlefield at supersonic speeds as the Redeemer, or I should call him the Disciple, he's pretty much an amped up Redeemer, but you get what I'm saying, and he drags Spawn through the fucking mud. Look at that shit. And then he's telling Spawn how he's gonna rip his fucking entrails out through his ass, and he's talking a bunch of shit. You think Spawn's having that shit? Nah, not today, son. And Spawn fucking shoots these flaming hellfire chains through the disciple's body and literally tears him apart, just like he did to Spawn when Spawn had no powers in the dead zone. But then Cyan realizes that wasn't the only disciple. There are still 11 more to go. That was the weakest out of all of them. And as Spawn releases the other hell spawns in his body, you know, like the other souls, he flies up in the air using the bats to levitate him, essentially. And then Cyan notices the power meter is in the corner. And he's like, how the fuck do I have a power meter? That went away so long ago. But it's there because he is in Eden, and hell spawns have no place in Eden. So that's why there's a power meter right now. So Spawn returns all of the souls into his body, looking fucking badass while he does it. Look at those fucking teeth and how the fucking necroplasm energy is flowing out of it. So fucking sick. This issue is so fucking badass. Anyway, so Spawn knows that he's gonna have to fight these guys hard and fast before his power bar runs out. And Spawn does exactly that. Spawn is fighting faster and harder than he ever has before. He is fucking speed blitzing these dudes. He literally bounces from one dude to another, grabbing one scythe, and fucking slices him in half with it. And it's fucking insane. All that's left now is his lust to kill. He's not even human right now. He's just a hell spawn. Spawn starts to dual wield these two necroplasmic swords. He slams his hand through one dude's body with the sword. He's like cutting people up and shit like that. He's beating ass. He even turns his arm into a giant T-Rex head and bites down on one of the disciples, killing them. He's just killing these motherfuckers left and right. This one dude wraps him up with like a tendril thing. He fucking stabs it with a spear. He creates this giant, ridiculously huge necroplasmic blade and stabs it down into one of them. Dude, This is it. This is it right here. This is fucking Spawn. Mammon, however, is being choked by Thamus because Satan ordered it, and Satan is pissed because Mammon is actually an angel that was disregarded by heaven, so he has no allegiance to them. And you know, Mammon's trying to be slick and get his way out of this. And the way he does this is by explaining to Satan that God has an army, and Satan needs an army of his own. So, have you ever heard of the San Andreas Fault? And Spawn has killed the majority of the disciples. There's just one remaining, and that is Judas Iscariot, the betrayer of Jesus Christ himself. And Spawn's ready to kill him, and then Cyan says, "No, don't do it." And he's like, "Why? I gotta do it." But then Spawn remembers that the Mother of Existence told him not to distrust her word. Trust everything that Cyan says. So, he does exactly that. Then, we realize that the San Andreas Fault is happening again because Satan wanted it to happen. And the whole world is getting fucking flooded by a tsunami, and buildings are getting destroyed. Armageddon has fucking begun, motherfuckers. And Spawn screams in anger, "No!" And with his last ounce of power being depleted in Eden, he's pretty much almost a human, and he gets stabbed by the disciple Judas Iscariot. And that, my friends, wraps up Spawn issue number 160. Like the video if you enjoyed the video. Comment on the video if you enjoyed the video. Fucking subscribe to the channel if you enjoyed the video. But if you didn't enjoy the video, don't be a pussy. Do all of those things I just said. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.